Good morning.
May it please the court?
Yeah, you are on your own because Mr. Adkins is not going to be here.
I understood that he was a pro se litigant after
yes, he is in Indiana, apparently.
Yeah, well, Illinois, Indiana, correct. My name is David Kurland. I represent the appellant in this case, Cathy Adkins. You know, there's a maxim in we took from the Kanakaris case that no party should be transferred from prosperity to misfortune. In this case, Mrs. Adkins transcended misfortune and went directly to devastation. The facts of the case are as follows. This was a 21-year marriage. Mr. Adkins was gainfully employed throughout the marriage. He had a solid earnings history of $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Mrs. Adkins had a...
Well, now, at the time of trial, though, what was the evidence of his income? What did the trial court find?
Well, the case was tried in July. He was on track to make $58,000 in the year of 2017. And
what was the finding by the trial court? Because I thought it was something less than that.
Well, the finding of the trial court.
Pay stubs from, he was working at a correctional institution?
He was working at a correctional institution in Illinois or Indiana, and he showed a financial affidavit of net of $2,500 a month. However, that was shown to be inaccurate. We produced pay stubs that contradicted his...
Tell me about that.
Tell you, well, as I said, with the pay stubs that we were able to produce in evidence...
You produced pay stubs from his employment at the correctional institution?
Yes.
Okay, and they showed something other than what he had
yes.
testified to?
Yes, he overestimated, for example, the amount of his health insurance.
Well, I just want to talk about his income right now. He testified, according to the trial court, he testified that his net was $2,509.
Correct.
Okay, and I think that's what the trial court ultimately determined was his net. Is that correct?
Trial court was incorrect.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, and tell me why the trial court was not
because the income statements that we produced, the pay stubs that we produced in discovery, if you had taken it out to the end of the year, would have...
What was in evidence?
That he was on track to make $58,000 a year.
Net?
No, gross.
That's kind of an important distinction, right?
Yeah. Right. No, he was on track to gross $58,000 as he has in every year, basically during the marriage. He had a very solid work history here in Pinellas County, or in Pasco County, of $50,000 to $60,000 a year. He never varied.
Other than his testimony regarding his net income, what evidence did the trial court have before it to determine what his net income was?
They had his pay records.
Okay, and
they had his pay records for every year, and they had his pay record, and they had his pay records for the period of time up to the time of the final hearing.
Okay, and is it your argument then, or your position, that the pay records from the correctional facility at which he was currently employed contradicted his testimony
yes.
that he netted $25?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly right. Plus, while we're on that subject, he also overstated his expenses because, as I was saying, when he left the state of Florida after 1 week's notice to his wife and went with his girlfriend to Indiana, he got a job, moved his girlfriend in with him. His girlfriend was paying half the freight in his home, and he did not figure that contribution in either increasing his income or in decreasing his expenses. So therein lies the problem.
I guess it would help me understand your position better. I mean, I've read your briefs, but if you could frame this more, a lot of what you've done seems very argumentative to me in terms of just arguing the facts and that the trial court could have believed other facts or could have viewed the evidence differently, but we can't really go behind that. So it would help me if you could focus on what the legal error is that you believe occurred.
The legal error
In
is,
setting the alimony she gave her permanent alimony, she gave her some lump sum, and I know that you contend it was an abuse of discretion to award only, the $1 permanent alimony. So could you just focus on what the legal error was there?
yes, the legal error was abuse of discretion not to award her permanent periodic alimony,
Well, she did award permanent periodic alimony.
nominal, $1 a year.
Right.
Right. And this was a 21-year marriage with a woman who is on Social Security disability, did not have a high school degree, did not have a GED.
Well, I think she found that the former wife had the need, based on all of those things, but she also found that the husband didn't have the ability to pay it.
That's right. That's exactly, but it's.
And you don't think that there was evidence in the record that would have supported that conclusion?
No, I do not. I do not think there was evidence in the record to support that conclusion.
His testimony regarding his earnings would not have supported that conclusion?
If believed.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
And
But
it's-
that,
We can't, what can we do with that?
well, even if his income was accepted at the amount that he came up with, of $2,500 net, I mean, we certainly can analyze the fact that he overstated his expenses and understated the amount of money that he was getting from his girlfriend.
Well,
In the-
going through the final judgment, it looked like the trial court did do some
that into
digging. I mean, it did, it's not like she just took whole cloth everything you said and took it as gospel. I mean, there were some discounts here that were taken. Hey, I don't think you have that big of a health insurance contribution. You were mistaken when you testified it was $500 whatever dollars. It was really 200 something. After sorting through the kind of the minutia and getting down to where the trial court believed were the legitimate expenses, the trial court concluded that he's running at about I think it was about a $700 monthly deficit.
Well,
I mean, it's not like, this is not like a situation that you see every now and then where the trial judge just takes the numbers that are put in front of it by one party and rubber stamps them. It does look like this trial judge did go through the minutia and said, yeah, I accept this, I don't accept that.
I respectfully disagree. The judge ignored the fact that this gentleman's girlfriend put $46,000 into his account during the time that they were living together. It was neither added to his income.
I think, didn't she address that? I thought I recalled reading something in the order about that account.
Well, she basically just said that, I don't think she gave it any weight whatsoever.
Okay. Isn't she entitled to do that?
I guess she's entitled to do whatever she feels is appropriate. I'm suggesting to the court that it was an abuse of discretion in coming up with this conclusion.
It's interesting, Mr. Carlin, because, and for the trier of fact, that's kind of like a jury instruction. As a trier of fact, they get to determine credibility and give it whatever weight that the trier of fact, believes it deserves. And to follow up with my colleagues, in looking at this final judgment, the court did go into detail as to her reasoning behind all of that. And I know you take issue with her conclusion, but for us, an abuse of discretion is a very high standard. So unless something, to go back to what Judge Kelly's first question to you, any legal error, because when it comes to credibility, we have to defer to that finding. And if she chose to believe him over your client, that's what the trier of fact is able to do. But let's focus more on any legal error in this record.
The legal errors is abuse of discretion not to award permanent periodic alimony to a wife of 21 years.
Sir, she did award permanent periodic alimony.
$1
In a
year.
nominal amount, yes. And the point of that is to keep it open, to keep that available if there's a change in circumstances, that the former wife can come in and seek an increase. So she did award it.
The change of circumstances are incalculable because the gentleman has never made more than what he was making in Illinois. He was a $50,000 to $60,000 a year guy throughout the entire marriage. He wasn't suddenly going to hit the mother lode and be responsible for more alimony. This is what we had in front of us. There wasn't going to be any modifications down the road and to increase the alimony, the permanent periodic alimony. This is where the parties were. All through the marriage, until the time that she filed, he was paying her $1,300 a month to pay her household bills. The day that she filed, he stopped paying. So if he had the ability to pay the $1,300 a month for approximately a year and a half, what's changed? What's changed is she filed, and he was playing fast and loose. When he got served, he denied it was him. The next day, he went to a lawyer in Illinois and filed for divorce there. We had to go through all of that. So this gentleman has not been trustworthy throughout. And ultimately, my client is now impoverished. She has no education. She has no ability to go to work. She's demonstrated Social Security disability need, and that's tough to get anywhere. She's been getting $700 a month from Social Security throughout this period of time. That's it. That's all she gets. And if you take into consideration the lump sum alimony of $35,000 or $36,000 a year, which, if she accepted it, would basically cover, at her expense level of $1,500 a month, would cover 23 months, and then she's out. She needs permanent periodic alimony. I would respectfully suggest to this court that in view of the facts of this case and the evidence that's been presented, she's entitled to permanent periodic alimony. And I would respectfully ask that this court reverse the final judgment that was entered and return it to the court for that finding.
Thank you, Mr. Carl.